So have you been craving Hawaiian chicken? Oh, I have a deal for you today.
Bigfoot cooking.
Now today, we got all the ingredients for some pineapple chicken or Hawaiian chicken, or I think there's 2 or 3 actual names for this recipe. We're gonna start out with, of course, the chicken. Now the chicken, you could use either breast meat or thigh meat. Personally, I like using the thigh meat. It actually has a little more flavor to it, and it's really tough to dry it out when you cook it. It's a little more juicy. The darker meats handle a little more flavor, but who am I to tell you what chicken to buy? For this, we're gonna go with about 5 pounds of chicken thighs. That's right, it sounds like a lot, but we're making a big old dish here. Now for coating these guys, because we're actually gonna fry them and put a little bit of a batter on them. So for this, we're gonna add a cup of cornstarch. Yeah, that's right, you ever fry anything in cornstarch? Oh, works great. And to that, we're gonna add a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of onion powder. We're gonna do you could do a teaspoon of regular ginger, but in this case, I've got the liquid form, so we're gonna add a splash of that to it. We got a 1/4 teaspoon of chili flakes, just to give it a little bit of heat, and an egg. We're gonna mix all that up for the batter. And now for the veggie part of it, and that little bit of a gooey sauce that goes with it. We're gonna use about a 1/4, we're gonna use a white onion on this, so we got about a 1/4 white onion we're gonna use. We're gonna use all our little peppers here. You could get the big peppers, little peppers, it doesn't really matter, but you're gonna slice these up into bite size. That's the biggest thing. When you cut the chicken, you cut the peppers, you cut the onion, everything needs to be bite sized. So we got ourselves, like I say, our onion to cut up, our peppers to cut up. We've got 2 cloves of garlic here. Don't wanna go too garlicky on this particular one. I got 2 cups of pineapple juice, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Now you could use different sugar if you like, but I like the brown sugar. It just gives it a little bit darkness, a little bit of flavor, it's not just boring sugar. A tablespoon of soy sauce, a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of vinegar. We're gonna be using about 1.5 cups of pineapple. Now this is obviously more than 1.5 cups, but this was the serving size the store had that I wanted to use. You could even use fresh, nothing stops you from that. And then of course, we've got about 1/2 tablespoon of cornstarch and a cup of water in this. That's gonna be a slurry that'll thicken everything up. So step 1, well, let's get to cutting because we gotta get the chicken cut up and into the frying pan. All right, knife work time. Now I've already taken the chicken, I've got it out of the pack, and I went ahead and pulled the skin off of it because in this case, we don't really need the skin on for this. I know there's different frying purposes and different reasons. Matter of fact, you could even save the skin for crispy skin. I don't know, you could fry it up like potato chips if you wanted, but not today. Today, we just want the meat, and I'm even gonna cut the bones out because I'm not making a broth. So I'll dice the chicken, dice the veggies, and the onion, but we're gonna do this quick style, so buckle up, y'all. It's a bumpy ride. Now, like you see, we're cutting all the peppers up into basically bite-sized pieces. We're just popping the tops off of them, pulling the seeds out, and making them where they are good to go. And also, you notice I started with the veggies first. That way my cutting board was kind of clean. I didn't have it contaminated with the meat before we started. Now, same with the onion. When we're chopping it up, we're also gonna chop it into like bigger chunks. So that way it doesn't blend in with everything. It's just you can see your veggies. All right, and of course for the last thing, the garlic. Now the garlic's pretty simple. You can just set it out. You can use the back of a knife to mash it, or my preferred method, the karate mode. It does the same thing, but it's a lot more fun. And now, peeling the skins. All right, so veggies are done. Now, it's time to get into the chicken. And like I say, same concept. Like I said, we're skinless, but we're not boneless yet. And we're just gonna cut this into bite-sized pieces. So, ready for this speed? Here we go. All right, we got our veggies cut, we got our meat cut. So now let's work on frying up the meat. That's right, it's time to mix up the batter for these guys. All right, now that everything's been washed, cleaned, and sanitized, let's go ahead and start on the next part. We're gonna make the crispy part of the chicken. And for that, well, we add our cornstarch. Poof. Yeah, a little messy, but what do you expect? Our salt, pepper, chili flakes, and onion powder. Now, if you were adding ginger powder instead of the ginger liquid I got, it would go in here as well. But what you want to do is mix this up good so that way all this flavor gets mixed into it. Now, the one thing you'll notice about cornstarch, it is incredibly dusty. So now instead of our powdered ginger, I'm going to give it about a squirt, which I guess is going to be probably around a teaspoon-ish of ginger, if I can get it open. There we go. About a teaspoon of ginger here. And then, of course, one fresh from the backyard egg. Let's see, make sure we don't get no shell in it. Oh yeah, good shot. Into the mix, my sir. And now we mix and make more dust. All right, now once you get done messing your counters up, you're gonna wind up with a very grainy, crunchy, gritty kind of mix. That's perfect because this is gonna stick to all this chicken. So into the chicken we go with it all. And now you just kind of stir this up until this gets on every bit of the chicken. Don't miss none of it or you had naked spots. All right, we're gonna give this a few minutes to kind of soak into the chicken. And basically now, well, we're gonna get a fire going. That's right, I like these little guys. You just get a little twist, whoosh, you have fire. We're gonna bring it down about halfway here. And also like frying in a wok. I don't know if you've ever like cooked with a wok before, but it's perfect because the splatter, since it has further to go, a lot of the heavier stuff actually stays in the wok. And that way you don't make a big old mess. So we'll give us maybe a cup of oil here. And while we're waiting on this to heat up, well, let's see what Benson's doing. I hear Bigfoot's been up to a few adventures lately.
So I'd just like to give you guys a fun little fact. Did you know that pineapples came from Central America? And believe it or not, they actually grew them before Christopher Columbus came there. Guys, they've been around for years. They're delicious and they taste good. Wait a minute, that's the same thing. Just eat them, they're good.
All right, got my oil up to about 350. So what we're gonna do now is kind of ease these guys in just a few at a time. You don't wanna dump the whole load, otherwise it won't fry like you want it to. So just grab you a piece and set it in. Now we're gonna let these guys go. We're gonna stir them around a little bit, give them about 8 to 10 minutes. That should get them just about right. And once I do these, I'm taking them out. I'm putting them over here where you see I've got a paper towel set to catch all the extra drippings off of it. That's right. This is gonna be so good. I just remembered, I didn't cut up the pineapple. Oh, we gotta have this guy ready to go. So while the chicken's frying, I'm gonna cut this, just in case y'all wonder why you didn't see it happen on camera. All right, we've got these guys fried up. Now I did this in 4 batches, but as you can see, that's just so pretty. I tell you what, so let's go ahead, let me get all this chicken out of here. All right, and what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna take the oil that's in here and I'm just gonna pour it off into another frying pan. That way, I don't have to wait for it to cool. And this little bit of oil we're leaving behind, well, that's just perfect to add some veggies into, right? Now we're just gonna let these guys go about 4 or 5 minutes or so, wait till they soften up a little bit, and then, well, we add some more to it. All right, veggies are starting to soften up. Let's go ahead and add the garlic now. The easy way, that's right, just crush it in there. Oh yeah. Yes, you can chop it and mince and all that, but you know, some days you just want to be lazy. All right, now that those guys are in, let's pour in our pineapple juice. Whoosh. And while that's starting to heat up, we can go ahead and add the rest of our goodness, like our little bit of brown sugar. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Pour in our soy sauce, our little bit of vinegar for a little bit of bite, and some paprika. Hey now, come on out of there. All right, we'll give this a good stir. That way the sugar gets mixed into everything. And we're gonna bring it back up to basically a little bit of a boil here. All right, things have started boiling up again. Now let's add our pineapple to it. And I tell you what, this is some of the best pineapple I've had. I ain't gonna lie, when they packaged this, they actually packaged it in coconut water. Oh, it is freaking amazing. All right, now that has come back up to a boil again, we're gonna add in our little bit of slurry, our 1/2 tablespoon of cornstarch and about a cup of water. And what this is gonna do, is gonna actually thicken this sauce up a little bit, so that way it's not just runny water, but oh no, it is magic goodness. Now, once you get this in here, go ahead and give it a stir and just kind of poke at it a little bit every now and then, but you want this to reduce down a little bit till you start to get a nice sauce in here. All right, I let this go for a while, and it wasn't thickening up right, so I had to put another about a tablespoon of cornstarch in it. But now, oh, look at there. It just drips off the spoon like goodness. So let's go ahead and we're gonna take our chicken and add it back into this. That's right, just a little dump in here. Don't dump it all, it'll be hard to stir up. So we're gonna put a good little piece of it here and then give it a mix and get this guy in and then do the rest. Now, I know some of y'all in the beginning was wondering why we use cornstarch instead of flour. Well, this is the reason why, because when you add this back into it, well, it stays crunchy in the sauce. Whereas if we did flour, after a little bit, the sweet and sour sauce of this stuff right here, well, it would soften them up and then you would have a mush instead of a crispy chicken. And I know that's what you want, it's the crispy chicken. So let me get this stirred in. We'll set up a plate and ooh, we're gonna do some heating. Ooh, yes, my friends. Is this not a dish fit for a king? I tell you what, looks good. And believe it or not, this time I let it cool down. Mostly because I had to get the thumbnail shot, but I let it cool down. So now, let's dig in, because I tell you what, as good as the pineapples were in the container, let's see how they are now. Because yeah, this is big bite stuff. This is nummy noms. I like this. This is not bad. And the chicken, stabbing it, still crunchy, but does it pass the taste test? Absolutely great. Now for the trifecta of colors and a big old mouthful. Yep, this one's gonna do. I'll tell you what, Benson ain't getting none of this, because this one's all mine. Yep, even the stuff that ain't been served out. Oh, I tell you what, knowing how good this stuff is, plus a little sesame seeds on top for some decoration and serving preferences, you know, eating this proves absolutely that you can cook this yourself, you can make it in your kitchen, and proving that Bigfoot is real. Y'all take care. I'm eating good. That's right, our half a teaspoon. Now, once you gets this, boy,